He's just a carpenter. His older brother Alexei smirked, watching 33-year-old Dmitry playing a board in his workshop. To the 130 souls of Krasnogorye village, Dmitry Petrov was nothing more than the quiet furniture maker who lived off tables and stools. But when a black minivan rolled up with 6 armed men coming to collect Alexei's debt from a local crime boss, something unthinkable happened. The silent village carpenter turned into a killing machine. No one knew the simple woodworker was actually a GRU Major who, between classified operations, had been hiding in this remote village for 5 years under the cover of an ordinary craftsman. My name is Dmitry Petrov. I'm 33. For the last 5 years I've lived a double life in Krasnogorye, Tver Region, Russia. To everyone here I'm just the carpenter who takes custom furniture orders and helps neighbors fix their houses. Every morning at 7 o'clock I open the doors of my workshop, an old shed behind the house, and work with wood until evening. The neighbors see the shavings, hear the plane, and think that's the whole story of my life as far as they're concerned. My older brother Alexei, 40, never misses a chance to mock me. All my little brother knows how to do is plane boards, he tells his drinking buddies on the porch, beer in hand. Golden hands, no brains for real work. At least he learned a trade, or he'd be completely lost. Those words cut deep, but I can't tell him the truth. He must never know his younger brother is a major in the main intelligence directorate, GRU, sabotage and reconnaissance specialist, veteran of 7 classified operations in the world's hottest spots. Our village sits 60 kilometers from the regional capital, surrounded by thick forests and swamps. Population, mostly pensioners and a few young families. The perfect place to disappear and recover between missions. The house belonged to our late father. I grew up here, left for the army from here, and came back here 4 years ago after a serious wound in an African country. Alexei still thinks I just got tired of the army, and decided to come home and finally grow up. Even the local police officer, when registering me, told the neighbors, the guy finally came to his senses. Officially, I'm an individual entrepreneur. Furniture production. In reality, every 2 weeks I receive encrypted messages from my unit commander, Colonel Varnon, through an old-looking radio that picks up special frequencies. I'm formally on extended medical leave after the wound, but ready to return to duty on the first call. In the basement, behind a false wall disguised as a potato cellar, I keep the real kit. Suppressed AK, 74M, Yargin pistol, knives, explosives, comms gear, several sets of fake IDs, and a combat medic kit. The carpentry actually pays the bills and is the perfect cover. In 5 years I've built a reputation as the best craftsman for hundreds of kilometers around. There's always work. Alexei drives a truck, hauls cargo between cities, single, loves to drink, and constantly gets himself into trouble. He lives in the neighboring house our father left him. Our relationship is complicated. He's the older one, thinks he's the head of the family, yet keeps needing me to bail him out. Dmitry, bro, help me out till payday, or help me fix the truck. I always help, even though I know most of the money goes to vodka and the truck problems come from his reckless driving. But he's the only family I have. 3 months ago he got mixed up with the wrong people in the regional capital. A certain Viktor Semyonovich offered him easy money, hauling undocumented goods. Alexei, as usual, didn't think twice and agreed. At first everything was great, triple pay. He bragged, I've finally hit the jackpot. I warned him once, there's no such thing as easy money. He just laughed. You're jealous because you spend your life playing with planks. A month later the enthusiasm was gone. Then one night he showed up pale and shaking. During a run he'd skidded off an icy road and damaged part of the cargo, counterfeit alcohol. Viktor Semyonovich valued the loss at 500,000 rubles and demanded repayment. Alexei had no way to pay. The crime boss gave him 2 choices. Work for free until the debt is cleared, or worse. Classic debt slavery. Interest kept piling on every week. I started quietly gathering intel on Viktor Semyonovich Krulov, 52, former 90s racketeer, now controls counterfeit alcohol trade in 3 districts. 12 men under him, all with criminal records. Their base is a warehouse on the city outskirts disguised as an auto shop. 3 days ago, I received an encrypted warning through regular radio news. Criminal groups linked to counterfeit goods and possibly narcotics are becoming more active in the region. Permission granted to use lethal force if civilians or I are in direct danger. Yesterday, Krulov upped the stakes. He told Alexei, "Bring your Carpenter brother into the business. That workshop is the perfect stash house. Refuse, and both of us will have problems." "He's coming tomorrow in person with his men to talk to you," Alexei said, terrified. That night I prepared the house like a combat zone. 10 a.m. the next day. 3 black SUVs slowly rolled into the village. 6 men got out. Krulov, tall, heavyset, cold eyes, and 5 enforcers. I greeted them in my work apron, playing the simple villager. "Looking for someone?" "We're here for a serious conversation about your brother's debt." I invited the 4 main ones inside, kept 2 by the cars. Sat them at the big table, stood by the window with a clear view of the yard. Krulov laid out the offer. "I store their goods, Alexei keeps driving, debt forgiven. Refuse. Bad things happen to both of us." When the thug with gold teeth stood up and said, "You're alone, we're many. Agree while we're asking nicely," I knew talking was over. I walked to the coat rack, pulled the Yarogin pistol from under my apron, and in one motion put it against Krulov's forehead. Hands on the table. Nobody moves. Everything after that took 20 seconds. One tried to draw. I shot the ceiling. The boom inside the house was deafening. The rest froze. I made Krulov call the 2 outside in one by one. Both disarmed without a fight. 6 men tied up with the same rope I use for furniture, sitting on my living room floor. "You have one chance," I told Krulov. "Forget my brother. Forget this village. Never come back. Or you stay here permanently, 6 feet under." He understood I wasn't bluffing. They left alive, hands untied at the cars, with a single warning. As soon as the SUVs disappeared, Alexei ran in, saw the scene, and went white. "Dmitry, where did you get a gun? What the hell are you?" I sat him down. "Remember I served 8 years? I wasn't a regular soldier. I was GRU Special Forces." His eyes nearly popped out. "You're GRU? My little brother. I couldn't tell you. Secrecy. You'd only worry." The whole village found out that afternoon. Old ladies kissed me. Grandpas shook my hand like I was a war hero. The quiet Carpenter had single-handedly run off an armed gang. I thought it was over. It wasn't. 1 week later, Krulov called from an unknown number. "I checked who you really are, Major. You humiliated me. Tomorrow I'm coming back. With professionals this time." That night I contacted Colonel Varnin. "Hold the line yourself for now," he said. "If it goes too far, we'll finish it federally." 3 a.m. the next night. 4 shadows in tactical gear moving like ghosts around the house. Real operators, night vision, suppressed weapons, perfect coordination. They opened fire first, shattering windows. I returned fire from the 2nd-floor bedroom. 1 down by the shed. 2nd by the fence. 3rd tried to breach the back door. Grenade through the kitchen window sent him flying. The 4th reached the hallway. Hand to hand. Knife. I won. When the sun came up, 4 bodies lay in my yard. No survivors to tell the tale. By noon, a black government gazelle arrived. Men in civilian clothes loaded the bodies, cleaned the blood, took the weapons. Official report: unknown persons attempted armed robbery. Were neutralized by homeowner in lawful self-defense. Case closed. Krulov was found 2 days later in his own warehouse. Single gunshot to the head, no suspects. The village went back to normal. I went back to planing boards. But every morning at 6 o'clock I still do my workout in the shed. And the radio in the workshop still crackles, sometimes with encrypted traffic only I can hear. Because some debts are never really settled. And some carpenters were never carpenters at all. The figure dropped and didn't move again. 3 left against 1, but I had cover. I slipped into the next room, peeked out the window. The second attacker was closing in, using the trees for cover. I waited until he stepped into the open. One precise shot. Two left. They finally understood they were dealing with a professional and changed tactics. No more frontal rushes. They started maneuvering, looking for blind spots. One reached the back wall and tried to blow the door. I ran downstairs to stop him. In the hallway, I heard the lock explode. I met him with a burst the moment he stepped inside. Third down. Only the most dangerous one remained. The team leader. A few minutes of dead silence. He was assessing planning. I used the pause to reload and pinpoint his position. Suddenly, a grenade flew through the living room window. I dove around the corner a split second before the blast. The shockwave stunned me, plaster rained down, but no serious wounds. The leader used the explosion as cover and burst in through the shattered window. We met in the hallway, face to face. He had an AK, I had my pistol. We fired at the same instant. His bullet whistled past my ear. Mine took him in the shoulder. He dropped the rifle but stayed alive. I walked up, pistol ready. Who sent you? The man, mid-40s, athletic, top-tier gear. Looked like an ex-Special Forces operator turned mercenary. Go to hell, he hissed, clutching the wound. We're not the last. Krulov won't stop. We'll see about that, I answered, then called an ambulance. While waiting for medics and police, I searched the bodies. No IDs, only weapons and professional kit. Hired guns. The local officer Sergei Ivanovich arrived with backup, surveyed the battlefield, took my statement. 4 armed men attacked your house at night. You defended yourself using lawful right to self-defense. Exactly, I confirmed. They fired first, used explosives. I only protected my home. He nodded. We'll log it as assault by unknown persons. Facts are on your side. The wounded man was taken to hospital under guard. The 3 dead went to the morgue. My house was a wreck. Blown out windows, a hole in the wall, bullet holes everywhere. Alexei ran over as soon as the shooting stopped, looked at the ruins of the living room and just shook his head. Dmitry, how far did this Krulov push us? He pushed, I said. But it's not over yet. 3 days later the house was patched enough to live in. I refused help from neighbors. Didn't want to put anyone else in the crosshairs. Hidden cameras, alarms, reinforced doors, new weapon caches. If he came again, I'd be ready. 2 quiet weeks passed. No calls, no attacks. I used the time to dig through old channels. Krulov's counterfeit vodka was just the tip. His real money came from running narcotics from Central Asia to Europe. He had corrupt officials in the regional government covering for him. But the feds had recently launched a massive anti-trafficking operation. Several big routes were already shut down. Krulov was on borrowed time. My little war with him had come at the worst possible moment for him. Wednesday evening, the phone rang. We're not finished, Krulov's voice, nervous, almost desperate. Tomorrow I'm coming personally with my best men. This ends for good. I'll be waiting, I said and hung up. That night I prepared for the final battle. Cleaned every weapon, laid out magazines, grenades ready. Sent Alexei to stay with Aunt Glasha until evening. Today might get ugly. At noon the village went dead quiet. Even the dogs stopped barking. 5 black SUVs appeared on the horizon. 20+ men, all in dark tactical gear, automatic weapons, not street thugs, real mercenaries. Krulov stepped out of the middle vehicle, face tight. His last gamble. I watched through binoculars from the 2nd floor. 10 men advanced on the house. 5 stayed with the vehicles. I opened fire when the assault team reached the fence. Took their leader first. The rest hit the ground and the storm began. For 5 minutes it was a shooting gallery. I dropped 3 more, conserving ammo. They blew a hole in the back wall and poured in. The fight moved inside narrow corridors, my territory. Still, the numbers were crushing. Ammunition running low. Time for the last card. Grabbed the emergency radio. Wolf to center. Code red. Immediate support required. Copy. Support inbound. Hold 10 minutes. 10 minutes in a firefight is eternity. I fell back to the basement, barricaded the stairs. They tried smoke, then argued about burning the house down. Krulov screaming on the radio, "I don't care about the house. I want his corpse." Then everything went quiet upstairs. Suspicious silence. Then I heard it, rotor blades, distant at first, then roaring overhead. "Wolf, this is center. We're surrounding the area. Hold." Panic above. Krulov shouting, "Withdraw. To the cars." Too late. Special forces fast roped from 2Mi-8s, blocked every road out of the village. I came up from the basement, rifle ready. The house was empty. All attackers had fled outside. Through the window I saw dark figures sprinting. Short bursts of fire. Some tried to shoot their way out. None made it. 30 minutes later it was over. Colonel Varnin walked in, full combat gear. "Dmitry Petrovich, you wounded?" "Alive, sir. Little concussion, still in the fight." "Good. Now show me what this Krulov bastard did to your house." We walked the wreckage. "Will be repaired at state expense," he said. "You were on unofficial duty." Krulov was dragged in, hands tied, face gray. I looked him in the eye. "Told you we'd meet again." He said nothing. He knew the game was over. 20 years minimum, Varnin said. Drugs, murder, organized crime. And his protectors in the regional administration are going down with him. Your fight helped us finish the chain. By evening the bodies were gone, prisoners in cuffs, village quiet again. Alexei ran in, hugged me like he'd never let go. "It's over, bro, really over." That night Colonel Varnin stayed. Over tea he made an offer. "We're opening a training center in the region for anti-organized crime units. We want you as senior instructor. No combat missions. Just teaching the next generation." I thought about it for a week, talked to Alexei, talked to the neighbors. Accepted. 3 days a week I teach. The rest of the time I'm in the workshop. The legend stays. Dmitry Petrov, village carpenter. Alexei got married to a wonderful nurse, Marina. I met Elena Viktorovna, the new schoolteacher from the city who'd had enough of prosecutors and criminals. We married the following summer. Colonel Varnin came to the wedding, gave us a fancy china set and told Elena, with my permission, everything. A year later our son Alexei was born. Strong, loud, inherited my stubbornness and his mother's eyes. 2 years after that, daughter Maria, blonde and gentle like Elena. The house is full of laughter now. Workshop smells of fresh wood and children's footsteps. Sometimes at night I still wake up sweating from old dreams. Explosions, faces of the dead. But then I hear my wife breathing beside me, my son's soft snoring down the hall, and I know the price was worth it. The radio in the workshop still crackles sometimes on secret frequencies. I don't answer anymore. Because now, when people in Krasnogorye say, "He's just a carpenter," they smile a little, and I just keep planing the next board. Some legends are better left quiet. You should still check them out, I advised the young officer. But quietly, no noise. My word carried weight around here. Luckily, I never had to raise a hand again. Reputation alone was enough to keep trouble away. At 45, I finally felt my life was complete. Family, children, work I loved, respect from everyone. What more could a man want? The old wounds ached when the weather changed. Eyesight wasn't what it used to be, but I was still strong. "You're retiring too early," Elena teased. "You've got another 15 good years." "I'll keep working," I said, "but no more missions, no more adventures." I put little Alexei in a Sambo class, let him learn to protect himself. Maria went to art school. The girl had real talent. One evening after his first training session, Alexei asked, "Dad, do you know how to fight?" "I do." "Have you ever protected someone?" "I protected our village, our neighbors, you and Mom." Little by little I told the children an age-appropriate version of my past, that their father had stood between good people and bad ones. One day an expensive car pulled up. A well-dressed man in his 60s stepped out. "Dmitry Petrovich?" "Georgy Nikolaevich." father of one of your former cadets. Over tea, he explained that his son Andrei, now serving in an elite unit, still talked about my classes. I want to open a private security academy. I need an experienced director. The offer was tempting. Good money, my own school, motivated students, but I don't make those decisions alone anymore. I'll think about it. Need to talk to my family. Elena liked the idea. It's close to home and you'd be the boss. 6 months later, the Petrov Personal Security School opened in the nearby town. It took off immediately. Word of mouth from grateful graduates did the rest. A year later, we had to expand and hire more instructors. The children loved it. My dad's the coolest trainer in the whole region, Alexei bragged. Maria painted a beautiful sign for the entrance. Now you're a real businessman, Elena laughed. Suits, meetings. I still prefer the workshop, I admitted. Woodwork remained my therapy. By 50, everything had settled into a perfect rhythm. Profitable school, happy family, workshop for the soul. Alexei at 12 was already good at self-defense but dreamed of becoming a programmer. Maria at 10 painted pictures that made grown-ups stop and stare. At 55, I handed day-to-day management of the school to Mikhail Sergeyevich, a sharp young reserve officer I'd mentored. Time to slow down, make toys for grandchildren, breathe. My brother Alexei became a grandfather twice over. His second grandson was named Dmitry after me. The Petrov line is secure, he grinned. At 60, I stepped back completely. The school ran itself, the training center kept me as honorary consultant, and I finally had mornings free to plane wood while the sun came up. One evening, 14-year-old Alexei asked, "Dad, tell me about the war." We sat on the porch under the stars. War is ugly and painful, I began. But sometimes you have to fight so the people you love can sleep peacefully. I told him the main chapters. No gore, just truth. You're a hero, Dad. No. I just did my duty. Real heroes are the ones who save lives every day. Doctors, teachers, firefighters. A week later, the kids came running from school. Dad, you're on the internet. Some journalist had dug up the old Krulov story. Hero from the backwoods. How a carpenter defeated a gang. Suddenly, reporters were everywhere. I gave one long interview and asked them to leave us alone afterward. I'm an ordinary man who protected his family. Any decent man would have done the same. The fuss died down, but the school boomed even more. Then the dark side of fame showed up. A Moscow-registered Mercedes rolled in. 2 polished men in expensive suits. We represent a private security company. Position in the capital. 10 times your current salary. I smelled a rat. 2 days later, Colonel Sergeyev confirmed. The company had ties to organized crime. They wanted my name as a front. I sent them away politely. After that, no more interviews ever. Alexei graduated with honors, went into cybersecurity. I'll protect people too, Dad, just from different enemies. Maria got accepted to the top art institute in Moscow but came home every chance she got. The city's fine, but home is here. At 65, the district made me an honorary citizen for services to youth education and maintaining public order. The whole village turned out. Old Colonel Varnin, white-haired but straight-backed, gave the speech. Dmitry Petrovich served his country in uniform and out of it. That is the mark of a true officer. At 70, I wrote a short book of memoirs. Not for the public, just for the family. My son insisted on a small private print run. It ended up in schools and academies anyway. Real life of a real man, the reviews said. At 75, the body finally said enough. Hospital, long recovery, but the mind stayed sharp. Grandson Dmitry, now a sturdy teenager, sat by my bed. Grandpa, you're the strongest man I know. Don't give up. I'm not giving up, kid. Just resting a bit. At 78, I knew the finish line was close. No fear, just gratitude. I gathered the whole clan one last time. Children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Thank you for everything, I told them. Thank you, Dad, Alexei said, voice breaking. For teaching us how to live right. For protecting us. Maria added, Live in harmony. Help each other. Never forget where you came from. Elena held my hand the way she had the very first day. I've loved you my whole life, she whispered. And I you, I answered. You were the best part of it. I fell asleep peacefully. The funeral was large but simple. Old comrades, students, the entire village. Colonel Varnin's voice carried over the cemetery. Dmitry Petrov was a real officer and a real man. He served until his last breath. They buried us side by side as we'd asked. The house stayed in the family. Alexei and his wife moved back. Grandson Dmitry reopened the workshop. Now he's the carpenter. Maria turned one room into a small family museum. Medals, photographs, my old tools. Years passed. Great-grandchildren grew up hearing the stories. Grandson Dmitry became a paratrooper officer, served on peacekeeping missions, started his own family. Great-granddaughter Alaka trained to be a teacher. Great-grandpa would be proud, she says. We all try to live up to his memory. In the village square stands a modest obelisk. Here lived Dmitry Petrov, who protected his fellow villagers from bandits. Every year on the anniversary they bring flowers. The security school I founded is now one of the best in the region. My book is required reading in some academies. But the real victory isn't medals or monuments. It's that 4 generations later the Petrovs are still honest, still stand by each other, still ready to defend what's right. That quiet carpenter from Krasnogorye did his job. He protected his family. He protected his village. And in the end, by the way he lived and the way he died, he protected something even bigger. The belief that one decent man, choosing every day to do the right thing, can make the world a little less dark. That was Dmitry Petrov. Carpenter. Officer. Father. Grandfather. Just a man. And that, in the end, was more than enough.